Well, that's probably enough talking and slideware. Let's get into an actual demonstration of some key management activities. Now, in the scenario, you are an administrator at Contoso Limited, and Contoso Limited had a business unit called the Life Settlement Group. Contoso Limited is also using Azure Information Protection. Now, the Life Settlement Group, because it was in a regulated industry, had some rules around encryption keys, and the compliance team believed that the key had to be generated on premises. And so when Azure Information Protection was initially set up, the tenant key was generated on premises, then uploaded to Azure Key Vault, and Azure Information Protection was granted access to that key to provide protection. If you remember from the very first module, the Life Settlement Group is being divested. It's going away. Bye-bye, Life Settlement Group. And because it's going away, that requirement for customer managed keys no longer exists. Instead, now Contoso Limited can start using the tenant key that's provided by Microsoft. So that's what we're going to do in the demonstration is go in and actually switch that key from the bring your own key to the Microsoft managed tenant key. So let's go over to Visual Studio Code and walk through that scenario. Okay, here we are in Visual Studio Code. I have a file open called AIP Actions that's in the Module 4 folder. If you're looking for these scripts, you can find them on my GitHub in the repository Azure Information Protection. Each module has its own folder. In order to connect to the Azure RMS service, we first need to get our credentials and connect to it. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and type in a username and the password. And now let's go ahead and connect to the service. There we go. We have opened a connection to the service. First, let's get all the commands that are related to key management. And so I'm running get command and I'm asking for any command that contains AADRM key, since all the commands have that in it. You can see there's not a ton of commands out there. It's only 4 commands and we're going to be using at least 2 of these. So let's scroll down a little bit and we're going to run the get AADRM keys command. That will get all the keys that currently exist in the environment. So you can see the one that's up right now is the customer managed key, and it has a status of active. So this is the key that's currently being used, and since it's a bring your own key, there's a key vault key URL associated with that, and that's the key vault that's actually housing that key. If we scroll up a little bit, there's another key in here, and that key has a status of archived, and the key type is Microsoft managed. So that was the original key that was generated when the tenant was first spun up. The next command runs get AADRM keys again, but selects the very first one based on creation time. So that will always be the Microsoft managed one. And I'm going to dump that into a key variable and run that. And if we want to view that key variable, you can see it is the Microsoft managed key, and it has a key identifier field associated with it. Now, in order to change which key is currently active, all I have to do is run set AADRM key properties, pass it the key identifier, and then set active to true. By setting a different key as active, the key that is currently active will be set to archived. And the reason you want it to be set to archived is there's still going to be documents out there that are using that old key for protection. And so Azure Information Protection needs access to that older key in order to open those documents until they're rekeyed with the updated active key. So I'm going to go ahead and run that. It's going to ask for confirmation. And there we go. The key has now successfully been set to the Microsoft one. If we want to run get AADRM keys again, we can see that the bring your own key has now been set in an archive state. And if we scroll up, we can see that the Microsoft managed key has now been set to an active state.